자, 맨 마지막으로 엘 수에뇨네요. 엘 수에뇨. 아, 아니다. 리키 산도발 남았지? 리키 산도발부터 보죠.
Happy New Year, Karen. I'm guessing you had a Bolivian Christmas too? You know, Sueño doesn't really get into the holiday spirit the way most people do. Another day I was driving him around Pucara, and he had me stop on this hill out of the middle of buttfuck nowhere. And he shows me these blueprints for his own mausoleum. I don't know, I guess he's planning his fucking legacy or something. But anyway, the mausoleum, it's fucking epic. And I'm like, Efe, that tomb is fit for a goddamn king. And Sueño turns that gigantic fucking head to me and says, completely straight-faced, cold as stone, Ricky, that's a tomb for a god. Can you believe the megalomania on this guy? He just wears it around like a hat. Like it's no big deal that he thinks he's a fucking divine being walking among the goddamn mortals. I don't know, kid. My mother always told me I should be more confident. Maybe I should take a page from the big dog's book, grow an ego the size of Russia. I bet you'd like that. I'll roll up into an RP. I don't know, have you rearrange the furniture to fit my divine design. But the mausoleum is gonna be a big construction project, and fucking artisans and craftsmen and, you know, guys who know stuff are making all this expensive replica shit. Or maybe he's gonna start importing art. Anyway, stick a pin in it. I'm just saying, this big project in Pucara is something you want to have on your radar. Karen, I went on a pickup to Barvechos and finally met the notorious Nidia Flores. Jesus Christ, she is as sexy a woman as ever walked God's earth. She reminded me of my brother's old girlfriend, Marisol, who was like, when I was 16, she was, oh man, she was even hotter than any girl I could think up in my teenage hormonal brain. And it's funny though, because to Sueño, this guy, he talks about Nidia like she's some saint in his whole unholy pantheon, right? But Nidia, I don't know if it's because she's afraid or because she really wants to please El Jefe. She's like so afraid of screwing up, she double checks fucking everything. I was just there to pick up some cash, like, you know, payroll for the Sicarios. Nidia, she ran those bills through the counting machines fucking 5 goddamn times. Some of the Sicarios I rode back with, they were gossiping about El Boquita being the father of Nidia's kid Valeria, which I didn't know. Did you know? I'm not going to tell you all the crude jokes these guys were saying. These cartel gunslingers, they are not gentlemen, know what I mean? Real animals. But Nidia, whew, she must have been the drunkest girl on spring break to let fucking Boquita be her baby daddy. I don't really see that happening any other way. Karen, I saw your old pal, La Gringa. I guess you know her as Dr. Svensson. She has come a long way since your NGO went belly up. Now, CIA fronts used to be sexy. Yeah, during the Cold War, the State Department used to send ballet companies into places like Italy and Japan. Places that weren't exactly enemies, but weren't quite allies. Ballet, man, like with ballerinas and those pointy shoes and everything. And if you'd done ballet instead of bringing biochemistry science types to Bolivia, well, we wouldn't be dealing with all these advances in cocaine technology. La Gringa told El Sueño she'd have a new state-of-the-art coke lab up and running, but I'm thinking she's promised El Jefe more than she can handle. She's about 2 weeks behind schedule, and she is looking stressed out. You know, her hair's all in knots, not bathing and stuff. I mean, she is scared shitless of El Sueño, so my money's on her having something to give him on her deadline. But I also know that you don't have real warm feelings for this chick, so if you want me to make sure she misses that deadline, I am capable of a little bit of sabotage. I'll talk later. And make sure those kids in the activity have their March Madness brackets finished. None of these cartel guys watch college basketball, so I'm gambling with you guys.
You're going to die, Ricky. Even if Yuri and Bolito stop. If they stop giving you pain right at this moment, you'd still die.
Yeah, I figured as much.
We already know the truth, but I want to know why. Tell me, Ricky. Then I promise I will make the pain go away.
All right, Hefe. It's a little too late for my confession to do you any good, so I chalk this up to professional courtesy. It was me. I blew up the embassy in La Paz.
You blew up the U.S. Embassy in La Paz?
Yeah. And it wasn't some DEA or CIA false flag bullshit. The rebels helped with the op, but it was me.
Why bomb your own embassy?
I had no choice. My bosses were gonna pull me out of Bolivia. No one gave a shit about what you were doing down here. No one wanted to commit any resources to stopping you assholes. I needed them to pay attention. And for that, I needed theater. And people don't pay attention at the theater unless somebody dies. Karen, we have got some fucked up friends. I just expected Pacatari to give me some chicken feet to give to El Sueño and El Moro. But that bastard discarded Amaru, the damn founder of their fucking rebellion. You know, I gotta say, it's a smart play. With Amaru gone, Pacatari has no rival for the leadership of the rebellion. Authority of their group was always split between the two of them, but now there's nobody left to disagree with Pac. Giving Amaru to the cartel, the old man dies a martyr, and Pacatari keeps his hands clean of any of the bloodstains. But yes, that bastard Pacatari is using me, but hey, Amaru was always the one who didn't want to work with us Yankees. Should be a hell of a lot easier getting the rebels to cooperate now. Just checking in, Karen. At an outpost in Benegas, we played host to a squad of Unidad troops who just tussled with some rebels. The rebels have been smart, picking off a couple of troops, making the soldiers chase them a little ways, then picking off a couple more. 2 or 3 rifles can do a lot of damage that way, especially in terrain as rough as this. Those hombres who don't get shot get beat up by the landscape. You know, Unidad might be looking rough right now, but I don't see these rebels reaching any kind of victory without a little bit of conventional warfare. It'd be nice if the U.S. could step in and lend a hand, but these days it takes a lot for America to put boots on the ground. It'll take theater. Something really dramatic with an all-star cast. If something like that happened, something that could get the attention of the news crews, then you might see some American troops in Bolivia. Hey, kid. Intense day at the office. You know, the funny thing about Sueño, you always know where you stand with the son of a bitch. It's like hanging out with the biggest pit bull on earth. You look at him cockeyed, and he might tear your throat out, sure, but sure as shit won't hide his feelings. You know, this morning, I ran security when he was renegotiating production rates with that fucking wombat, El Emisario. So Emisario keeps making excuses about production volume and labor and whatever. Well, Sueño just sat and stared all dead-eyed at this asshole. I swear to God, his fucking eyes were burning holes through the guy's shirt. And then, get this, Sueño pulls the biggest fucking Bowie knife out of his jacket. It was like a sword out of a goddamn Japanese cartoon. And he lays this hunk of pointy metal on the desk real gentle-like. What? At that point, Emisario would have agreed to anything. Fuck, well, he did agree to everything. And Sueño just picked up his knife, got up and left. Not saying a single fucking word. Now, he ain't the friend you introduced to your parents, but you gotta admire the guy. I mean, he must have balls the size of coconuts. Karen, put on your happy face. I'm getting word about some Argentine politicians who are gonna come visit the resort in Agua Verde. Your whole theory about corruption in Argentina has some legs. I don't think anything about the get-together is set in stone, but I'll probably get involved in the shindig at some point. Like usual, Carzita's doing all the work for now. God. That kid hasn't learned to keep his mouth shut, so I'm sure in a couple of days I'll be able to tell you which politicians are on the guest list. In the meantime, can you look into these rumors I'm hearing that the rebels in Bolivia might start working with the rebels in Peru? That's not the kind of shit I like to hear, man. We already know that the Peruvian rebels are trying to control the cocaine in their country. I mean, they advertise that shit. They post videos online about that shit. Are we trying to get rid of Santa Blanca just so Pat Guattari and his guys can take over? I mean, I know it's a possibility. I'm not a total idiot. But Pat Guattari needs to find other allies, man. Hey, Karen. So you know I spent every afternoon of the last week in these bottom-barrel strip clubs kissing up to El Boquita. Hey, some advice? When a strip club offers you a free steak lunch, don't order the food. I don't know, maybe Boquita was just testing how strong my stomach is, but somewhere between the dog meat steaks and the senior citizens gyrating on stage, my bona fides checked out. That's right, kid. I got access to El Sueño. Me and Boquita met him at the busiest coca market you ever saw. And man, when the hell did God start making Mexicans this fucking big? I swear. The guy walks sideways through garage doors. Now listen, I've only met him the once, but I think El Sueño likes me. I went with that cover legend thing. You know, the one where I'm a contractor hired to guard oil pipelines and, you know, try to make some more cheddar and shit. And he liked that I could talk about Santa Muerte, too. And guess what? On the spot, the big dog asked me to be a Santa Blanca lieutenant. And get this, he doubled the pay I was asking for. So congratulations. We got our foot in the door. Karen, I got no word on Antonio's stash house or any of his transit points, and I would appreciate it if you would stop asking me to go over to Mojocoyo. Whenever I see that bastard, he makes me do a line with him, and by a line, I mean a pile of coke the size of a fucking French baguette. I'm too lightweight for that shit. I keep this up, I'll be as paranoid and as sweaty as that motherfucker. You know, Antonio hits his wife in front of other people. The guy's basically out of control, but the blow has got him so goddamn paranoid, I don't think we'll ever find his stash house. At least not this way. If they stop cutting our fucking budgets and we could get the manpower, then I would say put surveillance on this guy. Electronics, satellite, the whole nine. Antonio is a hard target. Going at him all casual like he's just gonna open up and share his secrets with me? That's a fucking dead end. Hey Karen, you tried these Bolivian buñuelos yet? They're not round like buñuelos mexicanos. Here, they poke these little holes in the middle of the dough. I guess so they cook faster. I mean, I like them, but Paquita is fucking addicted to these things. There's this little bakery in Huertas that I swear to God, Paquita keeps this bakery in business on what he eats alone. You know, you'll think I'm crazy, but I really like this fat bastard. I mean, he really is a goddamn genius at smuggling. Anyway, give the border control agents a heads up. Paquita's getting a whole new fleet of stash cars from Huertas. He's like updating, upgrading. Unless they get a scanner, I don't know if there's any way the border control can find the coke without tearing apart every car that comes to the crossing. I'll see if I can ID any of the drivers for you, but chances are slim. Hey, kid. I got a lead on that air smuggling operation Boyer Boston Reed is running. Me and La Plaga met up with him at one of those cartel cat houses in Kawani. God, that boy had 3 chicas in there with him. You believe that? I mean, what do you do with 3 chicas? I can figure out what you do with 2, but what do you do with the third one? You think they take breaks? Like, one sits in the dugout while the other 2 play? Anyway, Boston was drunk as a skunk, and it was pretty easy to get him talking. Just like you figured, he's setting up temporary airstrips out in the salt flats. He kind of joked around about these guys he has working for him, guys that know the locations of all these airstrips and the times that they get set up. Boston kept talking about some dudes named the Guerrero brothers. Wouldn't really go into them, though. I'll drop you a line when I find out more.
Your father is well?
Sí, gracias. I wanted to ask about Sandoval.
I deal with him occasionally.
I've heard that lately he's been acting strangely, drinking more short-tempered.
You know as well as I that working with El Sueño can be stressful.
Sandoval is becoming dangerous, violent. I thought that with your resources...
Gonzalo, it is not my place to be involved this way. If Sandoval becomes a problem, El Sueño will take care of it himself.
Hey, Karen. We've been moving a lot of blow out of Bolivia lately. I mean, the cartel sent about 5 tons to Sao Paulo last Tuesday. You know, my share? Something like $2 million. I'm getting really fucking rich here, and with our chain of command giving fuck all about my welfare, I have to keep reminding myself why the hell I'm doing this. When I was 16, my brother Pete OD'd on H. Choked to death on his own vomit. It's hard to explain the feeling to a person who doesn't have a big brother. It's like the ground beneath your feet just disappears. You keep falling and falling. I don't like the idea of that shit happening to someone else's kid brother, you know? Talk about motivation, huh? Like a wish on a star for all the good I'm doing. Or harm, really. I mean, myself, Special fucking Agent Sandoval, I am personally responsible for putting tons and tons of cocaine on the street. And nobody bats an eyelash. It's crazy, huh? I mean, imagine if a counterterrorism agent set off a bomb on American soil. Would anyone give a shit then? Well, it keeps you going, Karen. You're not one of those pantsuit career types, so if you believe in fighting the good fight, you better find yourself some real motivation sometime soon. You gotta have some real fuel for this game. Hey, Karen. I know my station chief in Buenos Aires got the launch dates for those drug subs. You want to hear the stunning results of all our intelligence work? Squat. Nada. Nothing. My cartel contact in Florida tells me that the submersibles arrived with no problems except for a couple of dehydrated crewmen. Either that fat fuck the station chief sat on the info or the goddamn Brazilians let the boats through. You know, would it hurt for somebody in our government to remember that loyalty is a two-way street? I mean, fuck am I taking these risks for? And to top it off, I helped smuggle 200 fucking kilos of cocaine into the US of A, and I got paid very well for it. I mean, shit. Am I corrupt? Or am I just doing my fucking job?
The end-user certificate will be good. The officials are in Sueño's pocket. My pocket.
You shitting me? You want me to put German rifles in the hands of Santa Blanca?
No, kid. I want you to put German rifles into my hands, so I can get some credit with Sueño.
And what? We track the serial numbers? Why would I do that gun-walking shit the ATF does? Giving the cartel guns does nothing for my problems.
But we're not giving guns to the cartel. I'll deliver the shipment to a depot that the rebels know, someplace weak that they can hit. Then the guns that Santa Blanca pays for become the rebels' guns.
Now that's a plan I can get behind. I've got 100 rifles in the warehouse of a shell company in Greece. I'll ship them legit to El Alto, but you'll have to figure out how to get the Connex south.
Hey, Karen. Just checking in. Not much new to tell this week, but that Santa Muerte priest guy, El Cardinal, well, he's been real agitated lately. Smoking like a chimney, you know what I mean? I don't think he likes that La Santera lady very much. It's more than off his politics. I mean, I do think she's trying to edge her way into his territory a little bit. Like, maybe she's writing more of that Santa Blanca Bible than El Cardinal wants, but honestly, I get the feeling that this guy is really creeped out by La Santera. I don't have to tell you. In this crowd, well, in this crowd, if you're creeping people out, then there has got to be something really wrong with you. I can look into it if you think I should, but I think it's more to do with the religion stuff, less to do with the drugs. What's up, Karen? Thanks for that intel on the rival cartel. That bit of misinformation, all that cloak and daggery stuff, it helped out with that Sicario El Jefe made me interrogate. And I'd like to say that my afternoon with Yuri and Polito was the first time I'd ever enjoyed hurting a prisoner, but well, that'd be a lie. And I won't pretend I feel guilty about it, but it's not something I advertise. And I feel like we can be the bad guy just as much as we can be the good guy. You know what I mean? Like these two lovebirds, for all that bad shit they're capable of, they are just as capable of doing good shit. And they've got this reputation as total psychos, which, you know, they probably are, but most of their interrogation methods are textbook, straight out of the manual from the School of the Americas. And the rest of it, all that kinky shit Polito says he got out of some sexy French novel called Story of the Eye. Look, I'm not defending them, I'm not. I'm just saying that they're not creative. And if they're not thinking up wacky pit and pendulum type stuff, and if they are able to be as in love as they are, well, they can't be like pure evil. Yuri and Polito just admit out loud in polite company that they enjoy hurting other people, which just makes them weird and psycho, but not evil, right? Hey, kid. Yesterday was the first time I saw El Way since he burned his fucking face off. You can put to bed any doubts you had that he'd be going back to work. The man is a machine. His face is all wrapped up in gauze like the goddamn mummy, and he's still giving me a 5-cent tour of the mines. You know, I like this guy. If he wasn't a criminal, he'd be a fucking TV movie of the week. His face burnt off, and just a couple of weeks later, he overcomes diversity to run a pyrolusite mine. We gotta keep an eye out, though. Always gunning for revenge on this Unidad officer he blames for blowing his face up. You know, at the mine, after getting a whole lot of sideways glances, I realized that all these miners knew who the hell I was. I've been around so long that all these Bolivians think of me as a cartel buchan. And, well, you know me. I try to be a nice guy, a friendly guy. These miners, they were acting like I was walking around with a gun pointed at their heads. It's kind of weird when everybody you look at is scared shitless. Makes it harder to remember that I'm secretly the good guy.
자, 리키 산도발입니다. 산도발. 이 아저씨가 미국 대사관을 폭파시켰고, 그래서 이제 고스트 팀이 여기 기입을 하게 됐겠죠. 자, 임무는 2개 있습니다. 근데 뭐 게임이 진행되고 있는 상황에서는, 이런 시점에서는 이미 리키 산도발은 죽은 사람이기 때문에 뭐 또 다도 할 말 있겠나 싶다. 자, 마지막입니다.